So what does diversity look like in our daily teaching experience? For me, what diversity looks like and what it actually is are two different things. There are those diversity dimensions that are readily visible to the naked eye, and then there are those that are not. Such diversity dimensions as gender and age are something that we can readily recognize. And though we might think that we can easily identify the race and ethnicity of someone, this is not always necessarily the case. Take, for example, a student I had in a class of mine who was Nigerian. He was quick to warn us in class not to refer to him as African American because he was African. Diversity of disabilities is a dimension of diversity that is sometimes evident but not always. Take, for example, the case of learning disabilities. The only way that we learn about students with learning disabilities is when the disability office brings it to our attention in order for faculty to give students accommodations, to make accommodations for students in terms of things like note-taking or test-taking. Another form of disability that is pretty much not evident to people is in terms of mental illness. I have never been approached by a student asking for accommodations because of their mental illness. Yet I have had students approach me to tell me about their mental illness and how it interferes with their daily learning experience. And I make accommodations, even though they have not necessarily been recognized by the university as students who have a form of disability. According to the National Institute of Mental Health, an estimated 1 of 4 persons 18 years and older in the United States suffer from a diagnosable mental disorder in a given year. When you apply this data to the U.S. Census residential population estimate for ages 18 and older, this translates into a staggering figure of 58 million people. That being the case, we can rest assured that in our lecture halls, we do have students who are suffering from some form of mental illness. Dimensions like socioeconomic status and religion are not always evident, but I know that many of my students work, and they do so out of necessity. So I can safely assume that there is diversity of socioeconomic status in our classrooms. In terms of sexuality, the Census Bureau data estimate that 1.5 of the US population is gay, lesbian, or bisexual. However, this is likely a larger figure because the way that the US Census Bureau tallies this data is in terms of couples who live together as gay, lesbian, or bisexual. And with respect to religion, we know that often religion and culture go hand in hand. So if there is a sea of ethnicities and races in your classroom, you can bet that there's going to be a variety of diversity in terms of religion in your classroom too. All this diversity means that we must always be ready to respond in a sensitive way to who our students are. And there are a number of different ways that we could do this.